What's up YouTube? Today I'm going to be showing you how I hit this 13 RR trade right here on Netflix. I messed up this trade in a couple of ways, but overall it ended up playing out in my favor. I'm going to break it all down for you. Let's go ahead and get started. So first thing I noticed about Netflix stock was that it was very strong when the market opened. On the right side, we can see QQQ, and we are using that because that is the index for tech stocks, and Netflix is a tech stock. So this is allowing us to see how the sector is doing generally compared to the actual one stock that we were looking at. So Netflix here was very strong compared to the market, was a little bit weaker. So we know that buyers are stepping in for Netflix stocks specifically in the morning. And we can also see this blue trend line here. And let me show you that on this other page. That trend line is the downtrend that we are in. And it is best seen on the daily chart here. We can see this downtrend right here. But overall, Netflix stock has been very bullish, and so we're looking for the upside as we break out from this downtrend. All right, so that was the thought process going into it. This is that exact same blue line here. And as the market started to pull back, we started looking for valid entries. Now, originally, I was looking to see a pullback into this zone here, which was a support and resistance that I was watching, but we never saw that, and it kept ripping higher. And we have a lot of bullish fair value gaps here on the 5-minute, which I mistakenly was using. The trick with fair value gaps is that context matters, and also you have to use the highest time frame fair value gaps that are present. So right here, I was using the 5-minute fair value gap between these two candles, which steered me wrong because as I saw we pulled back into this gap, then I scaled down to the 1-minute, and right over here, we then invalidate the bearish fair value gap on the 1-minute, which validated my entry here for this time frame, but I was trading the wrong time frames fair value gaps here, so this trade ended up losing. What I needed to do instead was use the highest time frame fair value gaps that are present, and I don't know why the chart skips to like a day behind like that. If someone knows why it does that, please let me know. So right here, I was not using the highest time frame fair value gap. If we connect all these candles together, you actually have one giant fair value gap. If you look on the 15-minute chart where I should have been, you can see that all of this was the fair value gap. Actually, it ended up being on the 30-minute chart right here. This would have been the highest time frame fair value gap that I should have been watching. Okay, so that's really important. And since we're watching this 30-minute fair value gap, I then scaled down to the 15-minute chart next to watch for a valid entry. And I mistakenly entered too soon on this trade again. I don't have the trade box, but I entered the trade like in here somewhere, and again, I got stopped out. Then once I realized that I was using the wrong time frames for value gaps, I knew exactly what needed to be done. I was then watching on the 15-minute chart where we're at now, and we were waiting for a break above this fair value gap here to validate the entry. But again, I got in too soon. The correct entry would have been up here, but here's why I did that. All right, if we look at the overall market during this time, it would have been right here. Right here, the market was absolutely tanking, and the Netflix stock that I was watching, it was holding this this support level. And so I then scaled down onto the 5-minute, and watching this candle right here, this candle was going crazy, and I knew I had to get in, especially because we were so close to breaking out of this bullish trend line. I again did not play by my own rules and jumped in too soon. Fortunately, this time it worked out for me, and so I had 3 contracts here, and I went ahead and scaled out of some of the contracts within the first 15 minutes here. So I've got a trade box right here showing where I scaled the first of the profits at, and then I was holding 2 runners. My 2 runners, I use 2 different kinds of stop losses for those runners. So what I was doing was, at this point, after I had taken the first profits, I then set my stop loss to break even, and I was waiting for a candle close below the low of the previous candle. So since I'm trading this on the 15-minute chart, we're waiting to see price close below the low of a previous candle. So if we watch this candle, this is the low of that candle. We never closed below the low of that candle, so we stayed in. Then as this next candle formed, we were waiting for a close below the low of this candle, which doesn't happen, and we then moved up to where I scaled some of the runners at right here. And at this point, the stock was just going crazy. I was up maybe 200 or 300% already on those first 2 contracts, and then the final contract, I could not help but sell it early. I actually had a take profit set at what I thought was an unreasonable price for that option, because I did not want my take profit to get hit, and that take profit got hit up here at 11.23, where I closed out of the final position. And ideally I would have waited for that candle close below the low, but it was a good thing that I got stopped out early in this instance. And if you don't believe me, here is the screenshot, and you can see that final contract right here. It filled on today's date, and it sold at 14.2350, which is 11.23 my time, which would be right here on this candle, just about at the high. And that is where I stopped out fully for a 13 RR trade. I was watching Netflix stock all day today, and I actually posted a YouTube short earlier today saying that I was watching this. So if somebody else caught this trade, let me know in the comments. But that's it for this YouTube video, and I will see you in the next one. Go ahead and click like and subscribe.